So, most of the X-Men movies have been great, with a few mistakes that will remain unnamed. And now it's time for Bryan Singer's big X-Men directing return. But, is it worth the watch?
Please. We need you to hope again.
By the way, before I begin, huge spoiler alert. I will be talking about a lot of the key points in Days of Future Past here, so if you haven't seen it, click away now and watch this later. If you insist on staying, I'll warn you if a big spoiler is coming. So, the plot is very intricate and complicated, so I'll try to sum it up as quickly as I can. The movie starts off in the future of what I'm guessing is around 2023. There are these robots there called Sentinels that target and kill mutants. However, Kitty Pryde is able to teleport a mutant back in time a few days to warn the other mutants of a Sentinel attack to come, therefore saving them. However, they want to end it all once and for all, so they send Wolverine back in time to 1973 to stop the Sentinels and all that stuff before it ever began. Because apparently it all started when Mystique killed Boulevard Trask and was then captured, thus giving them the DNA and a reason to create the mutant-killing machines. Wolverine wakes up in his younger body and soon finds a young Charles Xavier and Hank McCoy, aka Beast. Charles has been taking this medicine that gives him the ability to walk, but he loses his mutant abilities, so he isn't exactly wise and patient like his older self. In fact, before being convinced of everything, he tells Wolverine, well, the same thing Wolverine told him.
Go f yourself.
After being convinced, however, the three recruit a super-fast mutant called Quicksilver to help them break Magneto out of the Pentagon so they can stop Mystique. Why is he in the Pentagon? He killed JFK. No biggie. They then stop Mystique from killing Trask, but the public and President Nixon are horrified by the mutants, and the Sentinel Project is set in motion. Nixon unveils the Sentinel Project in front of the White House, but Magneto, who ran away and got his mind control blocking helmet back, lifts up a stadium and controls the Sentinels with metal bars he put in them. He makes the Sentinels attack the humans, and the President is led inside the White House with Mystique in disguise. Magneto forces them out while Wolverine and Beast fight a Sentinel. Wolverine is cast into the ocean with metal bars in him, courtesy of Magneto. Mystique poses as Nixon, who Magneto tries to kill but is stopped. Mystique shoots him, takes off his helmet, and is about to shoot Trask when Charles shows up and tells her not to. She doesn't, and the future world is saved. Magneto flies off, and Wolverine wakes up in the present. Here he finds Professor X's school flourishing, with his mutant friends teaching. He also finds Cyclops and Jean Grey back to life. By the way, while all the stuff in the 70s was happening, the modern mutants were fighting the Sentinels while Kitty Pryde kept Wolverine in the past. So the movie wasn't good. It was awesome. Let's start with the plot. It was really good, complicated, and at some points, Inception-y. It's a word. When you have mind reading and time travel, it's gonna get interesting. Like, for example, the scene where young Charles is talking to old Charles by telepathy through Wolverine's mind. He's reading a mind, inside a mind, from 50 years ago. Don't think about it, it'll make your head hurt. The movie was also surprisingly emotional. If you're attached to the X-Men comics, movies, or just the X-Men in general, chances are you teared up in the scene where young Magneto is giving his speech and all the modern mutants are getting massacred by the Sentinels. Like, when you see the first Sentinel just jump up and stab Storm through the stomach, you know it's gonna get rough. Speaking of which, the movie's a bit adult, with quite a few violent deaths and a good amount of bad language. And while I personally didn't have a problem with it, and actually felt that it helped the story along a bit, these newer X-Men movies seem to be pushing the limits of PG-13. Something to touch on, of course, is the action, which is phenomenal. When the music kicks in and they're all fighting, it's just really, really good. One cool thing is that Blink makes her portals and they use those to fight, which is a cool aspect. I don't know how long it took to choreograph those in the mutant world, but it looks cool. My favorite bit is where they're breaking into the Pentagon with Quicksilver, who, by the way, is actually a really awesome character. He's funny, he's witty, he has a cool superpower. In one scene, guards fire at him, Charles, Magneto, and Beast, and he runs so fast that everything around him is in complete super slow motion. He then moves the bullets and the guards around and just generally fools around, so that, for everyone else, in a split second, everyone and everything collapses. All the performances are great, especially from Michael Fassbender as young Magneto, James McAvoy as young Charles Xavier, Nicholas Hoult as young Beast, Daniel Cudmore as Quicksilver, Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, and Peter Dinklage as Boulevard Trask. It also has a pretty awesome end credit scene of the evil mutant Apocalypse creating the ancient pyramids of Egypt. The biggest impact on the series is the ending. As Mystique ends up making it so humans and mutants live in peace together, the events of X-Men, X2, The Last Stand, X-Men Origins Wolverine, and the Wolverine are completely erased. This is a pretty big decision, but I think it's for the best. Even if you have to erase the events of some awesome movies, you get to erase the events of some awful ones, and now we also have Jean Grey and Cyclops still alive. The ending also leaves a lot of questions, one of them being if Wolverine ever gets his adamantium claws, as we see Mystique disguised as Stryker taking him away at the end. Overall, this movie is incredible. It's the best of the X-Men franchise, which is actually saying a lot, and proves that Bryan Singer hasn't lost his touch. Off the top of my head, there is almost nothing I didn't like. I give X-Men Days of Future Past a 9.7 out of 10. Thank you for watching, and be sure to subscribe.